100 days, man. 100 days of semen retention. You know, not too long ago, I didn't even think that I would be able to get to past 30 days, past a month, past a couple weeks. You know, I kept on just relapsing and giving myself excuses to why, I needed to just release my energy, my vital energy. But man, I'm never going back. Like 100 days in, and it's transformed my life forever. It's changed my life forever. My whole perspective on life, my whole perspective on who I am. I will never go back. So 100 days deep, and I feel incredible. Like you truly just feel like you're walking on water all the time. Like everything just flows to you positively, easily, just everything. Everybody's attracted to you. You get whatever you want. Everything just seems lucky, fortunate, easy. So why would I trade that all in right now just for 5 seconds of pleasure? Right after you release and you have that post-nut clarity and you're like, man, what did I just do? Man, imagine being 100 days deep and then doing that. You're going to go into a straight up just depression. Like there's no other thing that would happen. But yeah, we are 100 days deep, and life just keeps getting on better and better and better. Like physically and mentally, I'm in the best shape of my life. Best shape of my life. I've never been this, just on point with every single aspect of my entire life. It made me clean up all of the negative attributes that I had. My whole entire life leading up to this point, I was just a disaster. I was just so tied to my temptations. With everything. I had to just go all in with my addictions, with everything. There was no 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It was always all in, right? Which is good in a way, but bad in another way. Because it's good when I want to go all in a positive direction, like with the gym or this or that. But I would go all in with drinking, gambling, just everything bad. I would just go all in all the time. I would get super addicted and hyperfixated on all these things that were ruining my life. But I just rationalized it because in the moment, it was fun. That instant gratification, that dopamine hit of gambling especially. Man, it's a blast, it's fun, it's whatever, man, it's just money. And they destroyed my life. That destroyed like everything I could have had up to that point, And it got me in such a dark place because I was just a victim to all of my vices, right? And then, Cornhub, that was my worst addiction. And women in general, like that addiction right there was just out of control. Like I would just, man, I was on some top tier gooner shit. I was, I never paid for, any OF or pussy or anything like that. But, I was just watching the most wild shit, just scrolling on the hub for hours, just wasting away my life, just addicted to this. And this is just me being real and straight up, right? And then, I came to the realization, like, my life is terrible right now. My life is horrific. Like, enough is enough. This has to be the first addiction that I kick, because I know if I can control my lust, my lustful behavior, especially with women too. I have such an issue with that, I was just doing whatever with whoever. Like, it didn't matter. As long as she was pretty and had an ass on her, I did not care. I did not give a fuck about their energy or anything like that. And so I was out of control in every single aspect. But then I realized I kept moving in this worse direction every single year. Year after year after year. I was getting worse and worse and worse. I was not getting better every single year. And then it got to a point where just enough was enough. Like, I was tired of who I was becoming. You know, I felt like I was just on some loser shit, to be honest. Because I wanted all these grand things for my life, right? I tried to get things going since I'd been 18 years old, you know? Try to start that business, try to start everything. But, like, I could never really just stick to it and really get things moving. Because of all my vices, I got addicted to all the wrong things when I could have got addicted to all the right things, which is what I'm doing right now. So once I said enough is enough, man, I started to lock in. I told myself I have to get on semen retention. Like, I always knew about it, but you know, the videos would start, you know, just popping up on my feed, and everything happens for a reason. Nothing's a coincidence. And things would just pop up on my YouTube feed or whatever, this or that. And then I was like, you know what? I gotta give this a shot. So then for the next, year, I would try to just stop in general. I would go on for 15 days at a time, and then give myself a reason, an excuse. Oh, I had a hard day at work. Time to go goon. Time to go, mess around with a woman. Why not? This will be my last time. This will be my last time. This will be my last time. And I just always had this mentality, okay, this will be my last time. And it just kept happening and happening and happening. But then I just kept persistently trying. Because every time I was nutting, disaster just happened. Bad things happened. I had zero energy, and I would just go straight into depression. So I didn't want to feel like that anymore. I had enough. So every time that happened, I would just get right back up on my feet, try not to binge on the hub or anything like that, and then just keep on going. And eventually I got to 30 days. And then, I started to have wet dreams at the 30-day point. And then that was my excuse to be like, you know what? If I'm gonna nut, it's gonna be in my control. And then, yeah, I jerked off after 30 days, and then this and that. And then I just kept doing that and doing that and doing that. My bad, I see some fine shit. I kept doing that and doing that and doing that. But then I finally, after one of my relapses, I really felt like the worst I've ever felt in my life. Mentally, physically. I looked around in my life. I looked at my bank account, and I was just dissatisfied and disgusted with everything. Because I knew my potential if I just gave this one thing up for just a little while. Right? And I really I remember that relapse. It was after about almost 30 days. I was really trying hard at this point. It was almost at 30 days. I had a wet dream and I relapsed. And then I really, really I had no energy, and I got so depressed. I honestly, I didn't really want to live anymore, man. I look at my life, and it was just so disgraceful. I said enough is enough, man. There truly just comes a day where you had enough. I messed everything up until that point. Everything. I let everyone down. I hurt so many people. All because of my lack of discipline to just my temptations. So then, I made this ultimatum with myself, I had to this had to be the last time. Hold on. This had to be the last time. So then, that was the last time that sorry, I lost my whole train of thought. But yeah, I had the worst day of my life ever, and I forget what else happened. I think my tire popped, or like just everything bad that could happen just happened all at once. And I made the ultimatum with myself, like, listen, I'm going to do it this time, or like, man, I just need to stop trying. I need to just give up forever. You know, there's no point in trying if I'm just going to keep giving up and failing like I've done my whole life. And then that pushed me to the limit, the absolute limit, the absolute edge. Oh, let me just shut the car. That pushed me to the limit and made me, the mirror in my fucking eye. Sorry, there's so much shit going on. That pushed me to the limit and actually made me lock the fuck in. You know, enough was enough. And then I just started to get shit done. I started to actually focus on fixing my life, fixing myself. And then, yeah, I just started being more disciplined. I cleaned up my diet. You know, the thing about it is, once you start the journey, you have to clean up like everything in your life all at once. Like, you need to start cleaning up your diet. You need to just start cleaning up your bank account, your debt, whatever you have. You have to do that all at once. So then you start to destroy that person that you were, that would relapse, that would do this, would do that. And you start to become a new person. So within that process, I started to actually make a lot of change in my life to who I actually was. And I knew who I wanted to be. So then I just moved forward. I just started going and going and going and going. And then I changed every aspect of my life. My diet, my training was more on point. Just everything that I wanted, I had hyper focus on. Things I was consuming on social media. I even got to a point in time where I stopped consuming social media overall. You know, I'll still consume social media a little bit for like inspiration or informational things while I'm at work or whatever. But I was more locked in on my shifts. You know, I wasn't going home early anymore. I was just trying to get ahead. I was clearing up all my debt and everything. And now at this point, right, 100 days later, and I'm debt free, my bank account is smooth, it's healthy, I'm healthy, you know, my diet is super clean. I mean, not really right now because I'm on vacation with my family, but after the fact, it's gonna get, you know, right on clean again. I mean, it's as clean as possible right now, but it'll clean back up again. And I'm just hyper focused on all my goals, you know? I'm not focused on money. Like, the money just starts to come to you. You start to just understand your purpose along the way. You're guided by some, you know, entity along the path as well. Like, the more energy that you conserve, the more that you can attract. The more positive energy and negative energy. So if you stay in this negative state of mind, you will just attract more negative energy. If you stay in more of a positive state of mind, you will attract more positive energy. You know, it just amplifies one or the other. So as long as you keep your mindset positive, you know, your life is just going to get better and better and better. And you're going to just, you know, keep on moving, keep on elevating, keep on actually pushing the needle forward. You know, for my whole life, I kept going, you know, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'd make a little bit of progress. And then my addictions were just, I would gamble or this or that, and I would just lose everything again. I'd have to restart. So then at a certain point, I had to stop restarting. Jesus, what is this car doing, man? I had to stop restarting and actually tell myself, like, hey, number one, this is lame as hell, man. I'm just messing around with a bunch of women. And this shit is a double-edged sword, because a lot of days I'll be super fucking horny. Like, you're a lot hornier when, you're not nutting all the time. So yeah, you'll be a lot hornier, but you have to transmute that energy into some sort of creative endeavor, or into your workouts, into work, whatever it is. You have to use that energy somehow. If you just let that energy sit, you're going to want to come. You're going to want to bust. We as men we need to create somehow. So the easiest way for us to do that is to come, right? Even if you're not actually creating life, it makes your body think that you are. But if you can transmute that in another way, and a lot of people talk about this, a lot of philosophers, a lot of, greats in history, Alexander the Great, Nikola Tesla, Carl Jung, they all talk about this. And a lot of, I guess, normal people, you could say, would say this is not normal, it's not that. But if you want your life to be something much greater than the norm, why would you kind of like try to pay attention to what normal people are giving advice for? You would look at people who are greater than you and try to understand their mind, because they got a little bit more sauce than everybody else. And that's just the truth. But yeah, the journey just makes you more consistent and just focused on your goals, and more lucky and more positive, and just, you feel really good. You feel like how life is supposed to be. No anxiety, no depression, just waking up every day and just, you're going at it. You're ready to go, you're fired up, and you're happy to do it. Like, I've just been so present with myself and so happy to, keep on moving forward and just going and going and going. And you don't want to stop. You just want to, live life to the fullest. And you stop caring about, anybody else's opinions or anything like that. You just kind of start doing whatever you want to do, what you were truly meant to do. And you feel fully aligned, fully focused with who you are and everything you were ever supposed to be. I mean, yeah, that's everything so far. I'm very early in on the journey still. 100 days, it's kind of a long time, It's the longest streak I've ever had. But, I'm gonna just keep on going with it. And my life is just going to get better and better and better, because I believe that it will. And then I have more energy to attract more energy, energy attracts energy. So the more energy that I obtain, the easier and quicker things just will happen. Whatever I want to, positive or negative. So as long as I keep that positive frame of mind, I'm just unstoppable. I'm unstoppable, truly. But yeah, I'm gonna keep going and going and going and going. This YouTube channel is, just fun to me. It's just a fun endeavor. And you guys like it. You guys draw inspiration from it. You guys maybe just are entertained by it. Some videos I'm a little bit more, hectic and crazy, whatever. I'm a little bit more funny, sarcastic, trolling. Some are more serious, calm, whatever. But you guys seem to resonate with them. So I'm gonna keep posting for you guys, try to keep you guys on, focused up, and just like going on this journey too. Like, everyone should just give it a shot. Like, you have nothing to lose, just give it a try, and at least do it for 2 weeks, because that's when you'll start to feel a little bit different, and then you'll have your ups and downs. You'll flatline within the process and all that, but then you'll have those days where you feel that divine just spark within you, and those are the days that, like, you got to just be prepared for. And then you kill those days, and you actually have a lot more momentum. Like, this truly changed my life, fixed my life, all my bad habits are behind me, and it's changing me into a brand new person. You know, a person that people can rely on. You know, a person that actually is able to help others, you know, and take care of them, and, you know, just do better for himself so then he could help other people. That's all this is even about, man. I just want to help other people, whether it's my family or you guys or myself as well, you know. I never want to get into that real dark place again, because, you know, I might have almost not gotten out of that. I might have just given up forever. But that is never an option, okay? There's never a fucking option. If you really are down and, you know, just get help, you know, talk to somebody. But giving up is never a long-term option. You know, failure is never failure unless you stop trying. You know, you'll eventually win if you just keep on getting back up and keep on trying. You know, I've been knocked down so many times in my life. I've been trying, you know, to change my life since I was 17 years old, and now I'm 27. You know what? An entire decade of failing. But if I give up now, then it would all just be in vain. It would all be for nothing. And you don't want that. You want to have a life worth living. You want to look back on your life and just really just truly look back and be like, I gave it my all. I really tried so hard. And you do that day by day. You just try to get a little bit better day by day by day. All right, man, it's getting real hot in this fucking car. I just didn't want to have it running the whole time. That's why I was freaking out before. But yeah, I love you guys, man. I appreciate all the positivity, and I hope you guys just like start this journey up, and whoever's on this journey already, just keep on going, man. Like, you got this shit. Like, just lock in on everything, every aspect, little by little in your life, and then just semen retention will be on the back burner. Like, you just kind of do it automatically because it's not a habit anymore to go jerk off or mess around with women. Just stay focused on some sort of purpose, some sort of path, and, you know, you'll be able to make it to day 100 if you want, or whatever, you know. Just give it a try, though, and keep on going, guys. I love you guys, as always. Just